Wild fans are absolutely fired up over this after a brutal, devastating loss in Las Vegas. Brock Faber, Marc Andre Fleury, Matt Boldy, and even coach John Hynes speaking out about the implications of this game on the Wild moving forward. Exactly what they said. Honestly, Wild fans, we're pretty livid at what happened, but pretty pumped for the next game. We got to dive into everything that was said, the implications on next game, and exactly what could change with the lineup. A bunch of great stuff coming up on this episode of Hat Trick HQ. But before we get into the video, I want to remind you guys that a lot of you are not subscribed. And if you enjoy this Wild content, check out Wild Digest, where we're going to be posting even more Wild content. You guys have been supporting the Wild on this show like crazy. And again, if you want more, go subscribe. We already had about 40 of you go over subscribe, and even more of you go check it out. There'll be a link in the pinned comment. Mark, we got to dive into everything Minnesota right now, and we're going to start with some quotes from the players because look, we're all fired up about this. Watching that game was annoying, and look, Brock Faber, a guy that, he's going to be wearing letters on his chest for the long term, I'm sure. He said, look, it sucks. This thing is far from over. They've still got to beat us. We're going to be ready for war on Thursday. And Matt Boldy, hey, he shared a similar sentiment as well. Said, look, we're feeling good. We're confident. We know that way, the way we play the right way, we can beat this team. And I think that we've just got to kind of put that one behind us and stay positive. It's hard to stay positive sometimes, Mark, but they're absolutely right. One of the best crowds in hockey, best crowd in these playoffs right now. It'll give the Wild a lot of momentum. And the thing is, too, Mark, we're inches, as they said, away from this being like, looking at this saying, wow, that was a great win for the Wild on the road, sending him back home, literally inches away. What do you think about these quotes? How fired up are you about this upcoming Game 6?
I mean, Game 6 is going to be the biggest game of the season so far. We're going to see the home crowd absolutely going berserk for this team. This was a game that, yes, if you look at event stats, sometimes Vegas looks like they're dominating. But when you're watching this live, like we said last night, this is a team that really puts it on against Vegas. This was a game, like we said, just a few inches away from being in Minnesota's favor, where we could be doing a video talking about how dominant Minnesota was, but obviously offsides happen. It sucks. It's not what we want to see, but this is a game that they're going to go into, and I think this has to be their best game of the season. Yes, if they advance onto the second, or when they advance onto the second round, I should say, they're going to have good games. The finals, they're going to have good games, but this is their season on the line. And Josh, I'm not too worried. I think they're going to come out with their A game, and this is going to be such an electric crowd to be around.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the arena looks like. Heading back home again, number one fans. It's going to be crazy, but that's all you can do, right? Like, I need to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, how fired up are you for this upcoming Game 6? Because, like, honestly, there is just so much going on around this team. I don't know how to feel. Like, after watching, showing my live reaction to that last night, it was unbelievable. The live reaction to that unbelievable call offside. Gus Nyquist, look, we're going to talk about him and the lines coming up soon, but there is another thing we got to talk about from that game, and that is Marc Andre Fleury. And look, Fleury, of course, made some NHL history, and he said after the game, the belief is there. And he knows he's been around the block, Mark. Again, the record now for most ever postseasons appeared in with 18. He knows what it takes to win. He knows what it takes to come back. He's been down 3-2 in series before. All you got to do is win two straight, win this one at home, and anything can happen in Game 7. Like we said, they were very close. I mean, how did you feel about seeing Marc Andre Fleury in this game, first of all? And I mean, we haven't heard, as of the recording of this video, any kind of big update on Filip Gustavsson, because, of course, he went out with an illness, and we don't really know what's going on there. Who knows if Fleury will have to come in? But, hey, in his 13 minutes in regulation, Mark, the Wild played some of their, I think, quite literally, their best defensive stretch of hockey this postseason, basically not allowing any kind of high-danger shots on Fleury. How'd you feel about his performance and, his calm, cool collectedness, knowing that he knows what it takes to get to that next level, and he believes in this team as well.
I mean, the big thing is I don't want to say they were playing better because it was Fleury, but you could tell they really pushed the momentum in their favor because of Fleury. This was a team that defensively looked as sound as I've ever seen them this season, going in, wanting to get this win for MAF. Obviously, it didn't happen. It could have happened. We've seen the offsides. This was inches away from Fleury getting a win. And Josh, we were talking about going into the postseason. We know the Wild have their get hard chain, and we were saying this is the last time Fleury's going to get it, but there was a chance that maybe he did. Maybe if Gus is out, and I really hope he's not, because we know how good Gus is, I think Fleury could help this Wild team. And I'm not going to say he would be better than Gus, but I wouldn't be less confident getting Fleury and just seeing how well this team played around him.
I mean, yeah, you never know, right? And again, it's like that similar feeling when like the backup comes in or like the surprising goalie comes in and the team just steps up their game. And it's just, it was really obvious. And I thought the Wild played a great game again with just a minute left. Like this could have been a very different story. So leave some love for Fleury down below. Wondering if we're going to see him. But Mark, regardless, you have to imagine there's going to be some lineup changes. And again, just roll the clip just to watch this again. A lot of people are talking about this, to say the least. I mean, Gus Nyquist coming in offside here. We have the still as well that made it more obvious than anything else. Inches away. He's been taking a lot of the blame. And we're not going to turn this video into a wow, Gus Nyquist is the worst. Though I know a lot of comments will be saying that. And honestly, fair play to you. But what I want to talk about more, Mark, is look at moving forward. Because there's no point in looking into the past saying, oh, look, what could have happened if he had, who cares? All you can do now is win this next game. And I think to win this next game, you have no choice at this point but to bring Gus Nyquist out of the lineup. And we have a few choices, right? To me, he has to come out. And this is one thing fans are calling for. We're fired up about this. We need to see change from John Hynes in terms of this lineup. We saw Boyum come out for John Merrill. And despite Merrill's pretty big blunder on the OT goal by Brett Howden, I don't know if Boyum is making that play or would even be out in that situation. And Merrill had a pretty good game. Was a blunder. You move on. What are you thinking about the lineup, Mark? I mean, I think there's a real world where you see Nyquist come out for either Ogren or Hinostroza. I would love to see Liam Ogren back in the lineup. I would maybe even like to see Boyum. I don't know. I just feel like the Wild were so close. And after an error like that, I think you just, at this point, even if just to like appease the fans and to know that you gave the team your best shot to win, I feel like at this moment, you can't honestly say that if Gus Nyquist, with his performance so far, is still in this lineup for Game 6.
I mean, getting one of these guys in is going to have to happen. And another change, and it does sound a little weird, is maybe even bringing in Shore and moving Rossi up in the lineup. Listen, I understand Rossi has made the fourth line a lot better than they have been for the majority of the season. But if this Wild team wants to get more goals, we've seen how productive Rossi has been in that top six. Maybe it's time to get him back in there. Yes, you're going to have to make some changes. Does it hurt the fourth line? Yes, of course it does. But this is going to be a must-win game, and I think you need your top two lines firing on all cylinders instead of hoping Rossi brings a game to that fourth line that's not going to play nearly half the time. Josh, listen, this lineup, something needs to change in it. I don't think the entire lineup needs a complete shakeup because this is a one-goal game. This is an inches away from us talking about the Minnesota Wild going back home to close the series. But I do think Nyquist has to come out. We do have a couple options here. It does get really interesting, but would you be surprised if maybe Shore came in on that fourth line and just moved Rossi up in the lineup to replace Nyquist?
I mean, I'd be a little more surprised if it was Shore, but I don't want to rule anything out because, like, again, as much as Rossi, you don't want to stick him on that fourth line. There's been 2 goals this series from Rossi, both assisted by Brazeau and Trennian. So it's like, what do you do? Trennian had a solid game last game, I thought, as well. Like he had some good efforts, some good rushes, and so I don't know. Like maybe you do that. I think it's more likely that you see either Ogren or Hinostroza just come in as a winger. You keep the centers the way they are. Maybe you do move Rossi up the lineup. I know talking to Kirk on Wild Digest, that's what he suggested, right? You just move Rossi up. You bring someone in below. I think you probably take out Nyquist. You put in either Ogren or Hinostroza. You maybe even take out Brazeau because he hasn't done anything except for assist on Marco Rossi's goals. He's a big guy who doesn't use his body. You need some more offense at this point, and I don't know. That's my thought, but I want to hear from you guys down below. I'm fired up about this series. It was a stressful game to watch. I cannot wait to see what happens at home in Game 6, and I know you guys can't wait either, but that'll do it for this episode of Hat Trick HQ. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and don't just subscribe here. We're going to keep you up to date on the Minnesota Wild. You got that right, but also if you want to see even more daily content for the Minnesota Wild, subscribe to Wild Digest. You'll see our faces over there. You'll see Kirk's face over there. We love this team. There'll be a link in the pinned comment down below. I'm Josh Goss, my co-host Mark Pye. We'll catch you in the next one.